champions of the realm, we interrupt this wonderful music listening experience to you to bring you an update on the remaining quarterfinals game between the Dark Blacks and Virtu. And it is Virtu that do clutch out the series in a 2-1 sweep. Excuse me, not a sweep, 2-1 win. So they do advance through to your semifinals matchup to face off against Fabri. But that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the one on the top side of the brackets. It's all about Kungarna x the Dons versus Ardent Gaming here, Shift.
Yeah, this is a huge matchup. Ardent sitting at 65 points, fourth on the overall standings, going up against the number one overall in the Dons at 110. The difference between getting this victory and not is the difference between possibly only ending up with 40 or 25 points versus the possible 100 to 60 points. This could make things very interesting if Ardent were able to pull this matchup off and get themselves into a repeat finals appearance. For the flip side, for the Dons, if they are able to pull this one out and go into the finals, they will be looking to go up against possibly the combination of either Fabri or Virtu, who are hungry for that number one spot. And again, between these four teams, this challengers division is really anybody's game, and it's going to come down to what the results look like this week. So a lot riding on both semifinal matchups, but this one has a lot of drama built into it as Ardent looking to dethrone Dons.
You aren't kidding. And with the Kungarna having the first pick, they elect to, in the map drafting phase, ban out Fishing Village. This is responded with Ardent taking away Ice Mines, and then the picks are as follows. Frog Isle for game number 1, Serpent Beach for game number 2. So Kungarna going with Frog Isle. This is a map which we have seen banned out in almost every single set so far. So what is it about Frog Isle which really appeals to this squad of ex-Dons?
The thing with Frog Isle is they're able to move around the map so efficiently with that giant combination of aggression that we've seen from them over the qualifying period. Even in week 1, they tried to do the same thing, and they just do so well having Bang on Cassie. She's able to clean up on so many different areas of this map as she moves either through the side staircases, up the ramps, or just sits on the point in general. And that's something that has been so strong for them in the past, and I think that's something that they're definitely trying to look at into the future, as they have picked up a number of great players. We saw He play last week. On top of that, we have seen JAKEB, I think, get added to this roster, which is another strong silent player that's been around for a while, but has been teamless for a while now, and is now looking to make something felt here with the newly branded Kungarna team, the throwback to the DreamHack summer.
No kidding, but will they, or can they, should I say, take the win, or will they be crushed in defeat? That's up for grabs in game number 1 on Frog Isle. Kungarna with a first pick as well. We've seen this before, but it doesn't come up that often. It is the Cassie prioritization, giving it to either JAKEB or Bang 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 Bang. Most likely a bit of an unusual first pick, but Ardent's is also equally as strange.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And for the Kungarna team, again, they had the Cassie first pick. They matched that up with Fernanda and Makoa as their double front lines. And then they also pick up Barrick. So actually a triple frontline pick here. Grok is the final choice, which we're looking at that healing totem being surrounded by shields throughout the entirety of this map. And again, like we had mentioned, Frog Isle is a very centralized funnel-based map. So they're looking for point control with the flexibility of Cassie putting out damage left and right on the backside of things. For Ardent, though, seeing that there's going to be triple tank build here, are going to have to commit to doing something more aggressive than I think they probably normally would like. Ying will be their first pickup, and they'll round out with 4 very mobile damage dealers in Andro, Bomb King, Drogos, and Buck. So essentially, everything that Kungarna has, Ardent will not have the ability to do anything for the front line. But on the flip side, not having much damage from Kungarna, Ardent will take up all of those major damage dealers. So it will literally be shields versus damage here. And I think a lot of this is going to come down to how much will Cassie actually do on her own.
You're not joking about there. We have seen the Kungarna Cassie be pretty devastating, but there's only one player that I want to talk about right now, and it's the person who's most likely going to be picking up Bomb King here, and that is probably, now I say probably because there are a couple of players who could go with it, but it's going to be iDropBodies from Ardent. And in previous weeks, we've seen on Frog Isle specifically, iDropBodies run Jolt 4 and throw enemies off the map completely. A double kill in a previous week onto 2 of the most tanky champions you can get, being Makoa and Fernando. So I can't wait to see if we see see something like that come out again this week. But with that in mind, we've seen a lot more players starting to pick up resilience, Alan, to counter out some of the explosive AoE knock-up from Bomb King, from Drogos, also polymorph times, and so on and so forth. Is that something which you expect to see coming out for Kungarna this time with their matchup and with their lineup in mind?
I would like to think that that is going to be not exactly a consideration, simply because there is no Dread Serpent, there is no Pimp. So as far as actual crowd control ability goes, it's going to come down to solely the Bomb King displacement and Bomb King stun. I don't think that's going to be a consideration here. Plus the fact that they have so many shields on top of that really could have mitigated a Pip ultimate dropping in on them. I honestly feel like they're going to be going for a lot of Haven here just to kind of counter out the damage that they're going to be facing up against. Actually, I say Haven, but really you're probably going to be seeing some sort of a combination of Haven or Blast Shields. That's kind of the interesting thing that Ardent brings here with the Andrew Buck with direct damage and Bomb King Drogos with the AoE damage. It's kind of a decision of which would you rather block more, and that's going to come down to individual characters, I think, more than anything.
Conversely, you can bet that Ardent will be absolutely just focusing down on those wreckers. You're going to see that as a priority pick from likely Bomb King and Drogos, not so much on Buck, and potentially an Androxus, but just with Bomb King and Drogos alone, if they get to late game, if it goes 3-3, those shields will be paper thin, but it all comes down to whether that's going to be the case. It's going to be difficult for Ardent to hang on, but if they can make the defenses they need to as a first capture, it is almost undoubtedly going to go Kungarna's way just because of the sustained point turtling draft which they have available to them. I don't know. It's all a bit up in the air right there. It's a snowball composition versus the long game shift. And going into it, any initial predictions for this very heated matchup?
Oh my goodness. It's so hard to say. You know, we saw whateverman last week not really put up a good frontline tank presence, and I think that's going to be their kryptonite as Killer Umbrellas is coming back. He's back. Bang is back, and now they have JAKEB in the mix. Man, the Kungarna team looks so strong, but if they don't have all three of those shields activated and staggered, Ardent could blow this right out of the water with how much damage they have. They're going to have to treat this game, though, on a more individual basis and just have their centralized focus when they need healing to go back to the Ying, because again, there's no front line at all for Ardent, and it's going to be it's so hard to say. It's literally like the force shield versus the damage, and I think just based on what we've seen previously on this map in particular, my lean is towards Kungarna on this one.
Oh, that's a bit of a heavy prediction there, but we've seen Ardent perform. They've done it once. They can do it again, potentially here, but ultimately it does come down to the individual players and how they all perform. Whilst we are loading into our spectator, we are just waiting for the delay to be ticking down. We're about 1 minute and 30 seconds away from getting into game number 1 of this best of 3 semifinal set. I would like to bring you a little bit of an update from the Champions Circuit going on right now on twitch.tv/Paladins game. If you're not already familiar or not already caught up, I would like to announce that Matchpoint have also qualified for Hi-Rez Expo, and they will have the initial invitation to the $150,000 Hi-Rez Invitational global LAN event happening at Hi-Rez Expo in January. So we now have 3 teams on the board shift, and as we start to see qualifiers from other countries keep on happening, I can't wait to get involved and get really set into this fantastic global multinational event, and it's just so encouraging and so wonderful to see how much Paladins has been picked up outside of the North American and European regions in such a short time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nocturne's Gaming is that team from Latin America that qualified as of yesterday. So we already have 3 teams slated for Atlanta. One of these challengers teams might be it. We'll be jumping in with Ardent and the Dons/Kungarna here soon.
And without much delay, champions, it is my great pleasure to welcome you into one of the most anticipated and heated matchups of this Week 3 Challenger Circuit tournament. It is Kungarna versus Ardent Gaming. My name is Vox, joined by I Hold Shift, and as we enter this map on Frog Isle Shift, how the team's looking today.
For the blue corner will be Kungarna. Barrick, surprisingly played by BANGBANGBANGBANG, not playing Cassie. JAKEB will be taking over the Cassie control. Grok played by whateverman on Makoa, and Killer Umbrellas on Fernando.
And conversely, fighting out of the red corner on the right-hand side of your spectator UI, Ardent Gaming will be led by ImDave on Androxus, KingPac on Drogos, iDropBodies dropping bombs on Bomb King, Bubble Boy on Ying, and Bacon50 closing things out as Buck. As we approach the first corner, you can immediately see that the full total goes on, but it's not the point stack combination we expected. It is the full and unmitigated aggression. Killer Umbrellas, though, separated from the rest of their team after that hook went south, is the first one to fall. KingPac cleaning that one up, and this is not going the way that Kungarna expected.
Well, it was interesting because whateverman got a good hook, but he was poppy bombed literally off almost the map entirely, and they pulled the Ying, who just dimensional linked back to safety, but JAKEB able to clean up two, looking for a third. He's right there with him, looking to clean up the Drogos, and it's a triple kill for He after the double kill from JAKEB. A full cleanup, and that's exactly what Kungarna is hoping on.
It's only 1 minute and 40 seconds into this first game, into the first round, the first objective capture, and on the back of a Grok triple kill, it's looking like it's electrifying. You can see Killer Umbrellas on Fernando, forcing the issue, forcing the front line. Oh my god, the hooks out of this Makoa. That is nothing to be sneezed at. Good grief, whateverman. Kind of listening to what we were saying from last week and really starting to play up, and now Ardent, they're on the back foot. A defense when they haven't got many wreckers online is a bad look for them, as Bang takes out Dave and Killer Umbrellas dives the backline. Ardent are being split up, and they are in so much trouble, pinned to the wall as JAKEB rolls in for the kill.
Yeah, whateverman's making me eat my words for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then leftovers for tomorrow at the moment. He's playing lights out as this Makoa doing such a good job getting hooks and knowing exactly when to shell spin in. This has just been such good focus, and right now this is just uncontested. This might be a 3-minute conversion.
If this is Ardent trying to make a defense here, it's going to come on the back of maybe that salvo coming out. Interesting use of salvo from KingPac. We know that does 50% increased damage to shields right here. The fire spits will be good, but nobody's contesting. Nobody can get close enough, and the conversion will roll through under 2 minutes and 45 seconds. JAKEB closing out with a double kill at the final end right there. Already halfway to victory. Kungarna looking unstoppable.
Yeah, and this is what we feared how would happen here for the side of Kungarna, is that they would get this established front line, they would be able to find the picks, get the kills, and surprisingly, Grok is putting out a lot of damage right now, having 4 kills overall, is second on his team, only second to JAKEB, who's got the 5, and interestingly enough, like we mentioned, Bang is not playing that coveted Cassie pick. This pickup with JAKEB seems to give them a lot more flexibility.
And now here on Frog Isle, I love the Master Riding pickup from Bang, as it will enable them to get to the corner, which they always prioritize, throw up a barricade, and look for the dredge anchor play. Bang leading the charge. All of a sudden, places the turret, places the barricade, it goes down. No peek from Ardent, though. They're not going to be falling to that dredge anchor for a second time in the row. Popping bombed away is Killer Umbrellas, avoids the stun, but now they're all on the objective. This is all Kungarna's game here. They're trying to find the plucks. The damage is so inconsistent coming out of the rest of Ardent, but hold that thought as iDropBodies goes into the backline, tries to land the Grumpy Bomb stun. They get the stun off, but they can't get the kill as the follow-up is too good. The Dragon Punch from KingPac missing absolutely everybody. It's an absolute disaster for Ardent right now, as they just can't seem to find any kind of footing, any kind of purchase, and they're getting chipped down, taken out one by one by one.
I was considering making the analogy of saying that Ardent looks like Swiss cheese with their front line right now, but I think that would even be a compliment. It's just all Kungarna right now, just doing whatever they want to this submissive Ardent force. And again, the impact of not having a single tank is just being completely over-abused right now. Nobody can even stand up to this right now on Ardent. It's just too much team focus from the Kungarna
The defensive
team.
capabilities of Ardent Gaming, as you rightly say, are just so peppered right now. They have no cohesive frontliner. I have seen smaller holes in Friday Night Fishnets than in Ardent's defense, as they are getting torn apart by just the tank pressure coming out of Killer Umbrellas. Nice stun onto 2 from iDropBodies, but no kills connect. Actually, hold that thought. iDropBodies and ImDave picking up 2 of their own, and maybe, just maybe, shift at 3 points down to 0. This is where Ardent can finally make their stand. Oh my god, across the map goes Bang. He's into a tree, but not off the map, staying alive as the song of the day.
It's just too much fun watching Jolt 4 happen. It's too much fun. I have too much fun doing it. It shouldn't be allowed. It's illegal. It's got me giggling for sure. But that being said, you know, Ardent is finding a little bit of traction. 1 kill apiece for everybody, but even still, that's just not enough compared to what's going on to them right now with all the alternate combinations and just the central focus that is being provided from this Kungarna team.
Dragon Punch is available once again. We're going to see the respawn come out from the rest of Ardent. Bang with a double kill, closes things out, and the gap towards conversion is now closing. The Grumpy Bomb is good up in the air. KingPac has to make a move. You got to use that Dragon Punch, buddy, but you're already pulled into danger and shut down. Now Hee rolls forwards. They have their Tempest available. Here comes a King Bomb. Will we see the Tempest in response? whateverman does go down to iDropBodies. JB cleans up iDropBodies in response, though. Into the backline goes Bacon 5-0. Double kill. Buck Wild ultimate takes out 2 with 1 single shell. And now KingPac falls as the payload is touching conversion. This is do or die for Ardent. This is their last opportunity. They have to zone aggressively here because they cannot stand up to the triple tank pressure coming out of Kungarna as they advance for one last time towards this objective push.
Yeah, Bacon 5-0, Angel thumping the save right there. So close, and Fernando actually almost pushed that all the way in. He was uncontested for a second, but Bacon locked into it, able to find the triple kill. What good play from him on this buck. We've seen it happen before, and he's still shining strong right now.
Well, the Grumpy Bomb zone is going to be good momentarily. Bang able to mitigate all of that displacement from the Poppy Bomb by using their F ability, but thrown away again. And here it comes. The Dragon Punch going in. The Immortal, though, is good enough for the save. No kills. Actually, Bacon only taking out 1. And now, so close to conversion, it's up to Bacon to try and withstand. All of the pressure comes out from Bang and Killer Umbrellas. They don't even need the Tempest. It's not being used a single time this game. And as the payload rolls through, that's the 4-0 victory in just a matter of minutes for Kungarna.
I am so flabbergasted, and that's the only word I could think of to use. It's just so incredible. Like the 3 tanks, we've seen other teams try to utilize it before, but nobody has done it like this. 7-minute and 38-second game, a full 4-0 sweep, and only a couple of kills apiece for the side of Ardent, who again has looked so strong. And it's not that Ardent played down, it's that Kungarna has come to play this week. whateverman is so much better this week than he was last week, and JAKEB being inserted in this roster, it looks like Bang has finally put together a 5-man team that he can write home to.
JAKEB piercing their way through to victory, sitting on 18 eliminations, but Bang still the star of the show. 1 death on the board, part of 25 separate kills. Somebody stopped them, somebody shut them down, and this is only the first game. It only gets more intense from here as there are just 2 left for Ardent to try and clutch their way back into it and upset the #1 seed. Shift, we've seen enough of the scoreboard. There's nothing to talk about right there, but Ardent, they have some skeletons in their closets and maybe some dust too, because all the brooms on the battlefield after that sweep. Let's take a look at the map and champion drafting going on for game number 2, and it will be on Serpent Beach.
Yeah, and they need to find a way to take a tank early. That has to be a focus right now, and it looks like that will, in fact, be the case. You cannot let them have that composition again. It's just too nasty, and there's not enough, I think, adjustment that could be put into making that 5-man kind of roaming, maneuvering team that they just saw actually be effective, especially on Serpent Beach, which is a little more spread out, and trying to work that individual gameplay, I don't think will ever be successful for them. But that being said, Ardent needs to make sure that they're getting back into the game that they want to play. That was a very rash and just abrupt start to this best-of-3 series. They need to find a way to get back into this, find a way to play at their speed so they can control the map here.
So let's talk about first picks once again. To everybody that's watching, we are currently drafting champions via spreadsheet, as the capability for that is not yet built into the game. So we will not talk about the final picks coming through until all of them have been picked up, lest we give some sort of insight to both of the teams currently drafting. However, Ardent, they switch over to first pick, and I think it's safe to say that nobody saw this one coming for Ardent specifically. Shift, we've got a Cassie pick on the table for the 2nd time in a row as the priority pick for these teams. Long gone is Fernando. It's all about that damage.
I question that, because the general trend here is if you get Fernando, you're likely going to win. The win percentage on him in this tournament, I don't have the exact numbers, but I know just by watching and looking through the other results that Fernando wins more often than not, just because he is able to provide so much in terms of damage, shielding, sustainability. He's the complete character. That being said, as far as damage goes, everybody seems to be on the same page as far as Cassie being the most overpowered, simply because her ability to heal after dodge rolling and getting conversion of shots, plus the bonus damage, plus the bonus damage on disengage, plus blast shot, reducing healing. There's so many pros to these characters that it really is hard to choose between the 2 of them. Fortunately enough, this time, Ardent does take away one of them, where last game they played up against both of them. So now, that's smart pickups.
Well, as champion drafting does roll through to a close, let's take a look at the full lineups for each team. As we said previously, Ardent Gaming, they take Cassie off the tables for pick number 1. How do Kungarna answer back?
Kungarna will answer with having the Fernando as the 2nd overall and Ying is the 3rd overall. They'll rock still having the double pardon me, still have the double front line, bringing Barrack back into the fight, and then rounding out their roster with Bomb King and then Victor. For the side of Ardent, going along with that 1st overall pick with Cassie, will make sure they get the Makoa this time off the board, and will round out with Androxus, Drogos, and a Maldamba. So Maldamba will bring a lot of interesting dynamics here. The Dread Serpent combination is something we've seen be successful in the past on this map, but it can also be your kryptonite if you don't land the perfect one.
We saw that happen in previous games on Ice Mines, but now going into this one on Serpent Beach, the one thing that I'm noticing is lacking here from each combinations, and we'll come on to last pick Victor in just a moment. But let's talk about where is Pip, because in previous weeks we've seen Kungarna run so hard with Pip. They run it as a priority as long as Cassie is off the table, as long as Barrack is off the table, and all of a sudden we're seeing it fall completely out of the meta. And is there any specific reason you can see why that? Surely people picking up Resilience isn't the only reason why we're not seeing that evil mojo on the table.
Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily the biggest factor, but, especially considering that a lot of these teams did not get the chance to see what previously had happened with, Kakanuk picking up Resilience early on and getting that up to 60 and then 90% reduction on crowd control. But that being said, I think it comes down to personal preference of the teams as far as what a character like Maldamba or Ying can bring to the table that Pip cannot. And we see a lot more healing out of Ying and Maldamba as well than Pip can bring, and that might be the favor rather than going for something like the niche pick with just having that ultimate ability of Evil Mojo. But I could be completely wrong, to be honest, too. I mean, it might just be something that we don't know.
I've got to say, at this point, though, I would still consider Maldamba a little bit of a niche pick there as well. They're a bit of a pocket healer. Yes, they have that gourd on the objective, but it's only 200 HP per second, and a Grok brings so much more to the table than that. But Ardent feeling like Maldamba is the way to go. Their lineup is looking a little bit peculiar, but it's nothing that they can't run away with. Kungarna, their counter lineup, it's a bit more tried and tested, but the Bomb King pick is a bit of a wild card here, and we'll see if they can pull off the 2-0 victory. They have to stabilize. They have to stand their ground and go for the win if they want to make this semifinals best of 3 set go all the way to 3 games. Join us after the break as we get into that 2nd game on Serpent Beach. Welcome, champions, into game number 2 of our semi-final set between Kungarna and Ardent Gaming. In an absolutely shocking and dominating series of events, Kungarna swept aside Ardent's defenses or lack of frontline defenses in game number 1. Now on Ardent's pick of Serpent Temple, will they be able to pull themselves back into it? Let's find out. And that will be Ardent Gaming fighting out of the blue corner from the left-hand side of your spectator UI. Led by ImDave on Cassie, we're followed by iDropBodies on Androxus, KingPac on Drogos, Bubble Boy on Maldamba, the newest champion to the realm, and Bacon50 closing things out as Makoa.
And on the right side of things for Kungarna, looking to close us out and make their way back to the finals, will be Bang on Barrack, JAKEB on Ying, Killer Umbrellas on the Fernando, He on Bomb King, and whateverman on Victor. So a trade up of a couple of roles for Kungarna here.
Oh, Bacon50, you gotta run. Bubble Boy picks up first blood into whateverman, but on the backside of things, that is being Bacon50 turned into bacon, roasted alive by Killer Umbrellas. In comes the Bomb King as well, and he closes out a kill onto KingPac. The Master Riding pick seems to be working out so far. Watch out, Ying, and getting turned into a pincushion by Cassie there, but JAKEB managing to stay alive is a good look for the boys in red, and all of a sudden, Ardent, they just have no frontline pressure. Bubble Boy getting run down by Killer Umbrellas. They're split, they're spread up, they're in so much trouble, and there is nothing they seem to be able to do to put forward a coherent defense against all of this aggression coming out of the Kings.
Yeah, this has been absolutely great for Kungarna so far. Able to take a lot of picks very quickly. That burst damage, again, that you can be provided by having things like a Bomb King has just been so huge. And he again, very notable on his Bomb King play, is showing exactly why this game so far.
Payload pushing forwards. It's an uphill battle, quite literally, for Kungarna here. Dredged into danger is Bang, shut down by Bacon50. A good look on the defense so far, but still there is no direct contest. You're still being led by your frontliner Fernando, and as he takes out one on the backside. ImDave about to go down as well to the damage from Killer Umbrellas. This frontline tank of Fernando is making things difficult. There will be a full force retreat here as the gourd comes down from Maldamba, and will just stabilize momentarily. Now, with Bacon on the objective, we're going to see some of the bleeding stem, some of the bleeding, shall we say, cauterize for the time being, but shift again with Kungarna pressing forwards. It doesn't seem like they're actually having enough of an impact, Ardent, to be able to make this stop.
No, not quite. And a lot of really great placement of Barrack on both the barricade and the turrets as well has resulted in his team staying alive a lot longer than they probably should. On top of that, he's able to convert that opportunity into pure damage, which has resulted in him doing a massive impact here. He is only 2-1-1, but nothing can be said as far as how much healing has been provided for himself off the healing station and how much he's mitigated for the barricade so far on the rest of his team.
The one-man army right now of Killer Umbrellas, though, is forcing players out just by themselves. We need a healer in here. Dread Serpent comes out, 20% bonus damage to all players hit by it. The Dragon Punch coming through as well, but it's going to be counted out by Immortal, even though KingPac took out JAKEB. Killer Umbrellas still alive momentarily. The shield is up. They're just not dying right now. Somebody's going to slay them, and it's going to be Bacon 5-0, pulling them to their doom. The Dredge Anchor of Mokoa is something you have to respect. And Ardent, do you manage to stabilize, but at what cost? They've used several ultimates so far, and now Kungarna have the ball in their court.
They do, but at the same point, there's only 30 seconds left, and there is cleanup still going on in the map as whateverman and he do fall at the back end of all of that. A good Dread Serpent, but an even better Immortal to cancel and neutralize out the effects of all that damage that was trying to come in late on that, and good play there to kind of go ult for ult. Regardless of the fact, though, defense will prevail as it will be less than 10 seconds till overtime. Kungarna will have one more shot of committing to this if they want to, but whateverman actually getting pulled in here will fall likely. Is able to actually hustle his way out, but the rest of his team is falling around him, so it's just a 2v5 on the payload point right now.
But again, hey, great bait, mate. That's Bacon 5-0 using their Ancient Rage. And as the round comes to a close, overtime ticks down. 1-1 says the scoreboard. Let's take a look at the scoreboard of our own, available for our tab screen on screen, or our tab key on screen, and all of a sudden I'm noticing again, just as predicted, Kungarna with the ultimate advantage and master riding 2 on JAKEB. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the big thing here, I think, is not necessarily what's going on with the items, but how they're utilizing them together. So you have double record, double cauterized for the side of Ardent, which is obviously really strong, with the sustain of pulling out Havens as well. A lot of team focus right there. On the flip side of things, again, we see this happen last round. Kungarna going for more individual-based things. What's going to make them better? Interestingly enough, Victor picking up a veteran, which I think says a lot about his ability to get healed out of combat and whether that's actually happening or not. But besides that, the double master riding is interesting, especially for the characters that they are currently on.
Well, check out the positioning coming out of the barrage. It's going to be to no avail as no damage is confirmed. In comes a Dragon Punch from KingPac, and it finds a Ying Illusion. That's unfortunate there. Forced back our Ardent once again. They're crippled, and they need to withdraw. The healing from them isn't as consistent. Bubble Boy just not as good as Ying playing Maldamba right now, because that gore doesn't provide quite enough. And so far, once again, for the second time, it is Kungarna in the lead. Down comes the King Bomb. This could be huge if he connects, and it should be Bacon 5 going down. The sticks are good enough, but now oh, the Poppy Bomb up in enough time will send them back to the objective, back to healing, and this is only going one way yet again. Maybe this can be turned around by iDropBodies, but fantastic trigger discipline on the Dome Shield allows Bang to keep their team safe and healthy. No contest. 2-1 leads the scoreboard.
Really good initiation of all that damage from He as he Poppy Bombs in and then Poppy Bombs right back out after he secures a kill. And then again, the Dome Shield perfectly executed to mitigate out all of that damage that was going to come in from the Accursed Arm. And then on top of that, JAKEB also utilizing the Illusionary Rift to get anyone who was low healed up. Barrage trying to zone out a little bit will result in this payload moving forward. And Killer Umbrellas on this Fernando is putting up a presence really deep into the front line here, trying to, again, allow this payload to move further than it maybe would have if he was not there.
But speaking of deep into the front line, let's take a look at Bang's positioning as they're holding the high ground here. Going to be coming in with a turret very shortly. Now pressuring out towards Drogoz in midair, who will get away from He's Bomb King momentarily. Again, Killer Umbrellas leading the charge right there. Oh my god, the Poppy Bomb off the map. Bubble Boy, get out of here. Bacon 5-0, you are surely soon to follow as well if you stay around for long enough. iDropBodies takes out but still the payload advances. The Immortal keeping everybody alive, and we have to see the stabilization come out of Ardent right here as a payload is touching conversion. If this goes through, it's 3-1 to Kungarna, and then the battle for return is so difficult.
Yeah, good shot there to close out whateverman from getting around that corner will actually make this, again, more favorable to the defense because it's going to take another about 10-15 seconds for whateverman to come back as victor. So it will be odd man situation and numbers favoring Ardent. He looking for some zoning pressure with the sticky bomb placement into that little side room, but nothing happening quite as of yet. But Victor now back. It will be a 5-man reinitiation onto this payload for Kungarna. Again, as you mentioned, looking for that 3-1 stat line.
Kungarna, they don't have an opportunity to capitalize with ultimates as they are all down, but conversely, if we take a look at the side of Ardent, they have to use them here if it comes to it, because this, again, I hate to use this phrase so much, but it really is do or die for them. Turns out they don't need them anyway, though. It just comes down accuracy and precision. Bodies, what are you doing? Nope,
Bacon
5-0, what are you doing?
The Ancient Rage and not really sure what the thought process was there. Dave actually picking up a delay quadra right there, starting to find his shot. We haven't mentioned his name very often, but he does have the potential to do this, especially on Cassie, doing a good job of kind of zoning everybody out. He with 2 early deaths into this last payload. He jumped in early last round and got focused out really quickly, and once again, we saw the same thing happen there. Bang as well on the backside will not be able to ninja through, and this will be another successful defense for the side of Ardent, making it 2-2. And as we get into the middle and late game, Ardent's focus, statistics, and defense and offense for their items will start to really be felt.
It certainly will. As we take a look at the scoreboard, let's check out the itemization available on our screens. You can see double wrecker coming out of KingPac so far. That will be 100% increased damage done to shields from those rockets. iDropBodies, interestingly enough, being the one with Cauterize here, trying to shut down all the healing coming out of JAKEB on Ying. But I want to talk about the green field on the right-hand side of your screen for Kungarna. It is a 5-man veteran comp. What's going on there, Shift?
I have no idea. No idea. Essentially what this means to me, with all of them going veteran, is that they're looking for poke and then retreat. And get back healthy. Poke again, get back to a spot where you can heal up, and then commit. You have that ability to do that, to stay out of combat and get healthier faster than your opponent. So that needs to be the strategy as far as how they're going to utilize that pick. Bomb Keagle coming in the backline. He actually overshoots that little ledge, but it doesn't stop him from getting back to point. He will take out Bubble Boy, and it is a full cleanup going on right now for the side of Kungarna, as there is, again, the Illusionary Rift to keep the team nice and healthy.
Bodies only able to pick up a kill onto just He with the Accursed Arm ultimate. Going for a bit of a flank round here, Bodies trying to apply some poke, but you're fighting into a Barrack who is set down and established. Killer Umbrellas as well as Fernando back on the objective. A big Dread Serpent comes out. You gotta focus down Killer Umbrellas. Do they have the Immortal? No, it's not gonna come out. And this is comeback potential from Ardent right here. Lockdown goes down from Barrack. He takes out one. You gotta find the damage, Ardent. You gotta confirm the kills, but still it is the red team Kungarna, the Kings that hold strong. Bang with 2. He with 2. KingPac takes out one response, but whateverman cleans that up. Eyes to the skies on Victor. They shut down Drogos, ground them, and send them straight back to base. Now 2-2 on the scoreboard, 69.75 and climbing for the side of Kungarna. There is no way back onto the objective from Ardent. Everybody is simply too far away, and yet again it comes down to whether they can make the defense or not. But Kungarna, they're at a win condition for not just the game, but the set right here, and you can bet that they're going to be giving it everything they've got.
Yeah, and what an incredible sustain there from both Bang on Barrack and He on the Bomb King. They were able to get on the backside of that Dread Serpent to push them away, and then they were able to stay alive. And not just that, they were able to find kills. The Dome Shield kept canceled out a lot of the damage, and He was able to get a number of Sticky Bomb direct hits to finish off 2 before he fell, allowing Bang to clean up another. That was a 2-on-4 that He and Bang converted into their favor.
Well, KingPac has stabilized things very slightly with a kill on the Killer Umbrellas. Are we going to see the blaster battle right here? It's He on Bomb King trying to frag out versus KingPac. The hits, they're both missing so much, and it will be KingPac who comes out on top of that one. The Dragon will not be shut down so easily, they say, with a double kill. Looking for a triple kill as Killer Umbrellas is overextended and alone, but it should be the shield coming up, and they will retreat to safety for the time being. Ardent, they cannot afford to overextend here. Yes, they can keep up continual pressure on the respawn coming out, but they definitely cannot get caught out of position and get isolated and eliminated one by one. It is do or die, and they must hold.
Yeah, they must hold, and Barrage will push everybody back away a little bit, allowing this payload some room to move, and Bang in this little courtyard over here is going to have a chance to set up a couple of turrets and get this payload moving around this corner pretty easily. This little side room is well being contested all across the board for both teams. Bacon in trouble, has his shell spin away, and then go into agent range. He can re-engage here, but chooses not to, which is interesting. He could have regained control of that room and just walked away. Whateverman, though, does fall low. He is now getting his health back up, but still, Ardent in a little bit of trouble, not quite out of the fray yet.
And this is surprising because Kungarna, they close out games so well, or close out conversions so well with their previous team composition, but when they just don't have your face roll, triple frontline oppressive force, they seem to stumble. They seem to not be as strong as we thought. The Kings are bleeding, they are losing blood, they're certainly mortal, and Ardent could take this away from them. Bacon 5-0 grabs bang, 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 and now with one frontline down, it's up to killerumbrellas to hold the fort with only 12 seconds left on this payload push.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the scorelines are close, you know, Kungarna still has not let go of control of this map. The stat line alone with kills has shown they're still winning this, and they have yet to give up a control point. And both of these payload pushes have been very close to converting.
Oh my
and
God.
there it is, the dome shield able to pick up too. You need to get back to the payload though. Oh, they do proc it just in time. He with another secure on the King Bomb, and it's just KingPac, and he will surely fall as well. He with the delayed triple, and this overtime will push, finalizing the game here. Unless the Dreadserpers has something to say about it, it's right on the point, but they can't get it all the way in.
Oh, and off the map to end things, that is Bacon 5-0. See you later to infinity and beyond. And we're blasting off again. Straight out of the map goes the tanky Makoa, and the conversion rolls through. Kungarna, they've found their footing. They've found the lineup that works for them, and their roster is looking absolutely unstoppable as they clean up in game number 2 of this best of 3 set in the semifinals, and will be the first of your finalists to advance to the end of today's bracket.
What incredible play, and finalizing that Poppy Bomb blow away from he had an incredible match this game, absolutely playing up to that Bomb King that he so favors. And besides that, again, you cannot give enough credit to Bang. He comes out each week with a different character and shows that he can play everybody at the top level. Last week it was Drogos out of nowhere, this week it's Barrack out of nowhere, and he's able to do so much for his team on all facets of the field. And now he's got a supporting cast that actually starts to bring the whole team up another level that we have yet to see, and this echelon is just going to keep rising and rising as we move into the finals.
So let's head across to our bracket screen right now, and as they are being updated, you should be able to see in just a couple of seconds that Kungarna do advance, but there's an interesting storyline going on the bottom side of the bracket so far. It is Fabri versus Virtu, and I'm not sure if we have full updates coming through just yet, but I'm looking at our tournament's screenshot set, and it is very, very interesting, Shift.
I do not have that pulled up, so if you can enlighten me, that would go great.
Oh, of course, I would love to. So, game 1, Fabri versus Virtu. Victory for Fabri. A pretty even game overall, but Fabri taking the edge. They have more kills, notably Avuli fragging out with 34 eliminations on Bomb King. Notable plays as we've seen before, but game 2, Virtu versus Fabri. Winner actually goes to Virtu, and check this out. It's in a 10-minute and 50-second game. Virtu finding the stabilization that they needed to. They're finding their footing, and they are fragging out, and game number 3 is still in progress. But on the bottom side of the bracket, it is all tied up 1-1 right now, and we will be awaiting those final results. So whilst we have the opportunity to, I think we're actually going to bring you that game number 3 live, as I can see that champion drafting is only just beginning.
And we've only just begun. This is going to go great. This semifinal matchup is one that I think will also live in the ages, and this is a lot riding on this tournament here for both teams, especially now that we know that Kungarna will be getting into the finals and guaranteeing themselves at least 60 points. If Fabri does not get to the finals, that's going to make it for they have to start relying on an earlier situation in the tournament for Kungarna to lose out if they want to have a shot at this. If they get that matchup, though, in the finals, that's the 110 versus the 105 point teams. that couldn't get any closer. Flip-flop that. If Virtue gets in and they're able to go up against Kungarna and win, they're in the conversation and will be in the top 3 as far as points go, regardless if they get 60 or 100, and that then puts them in the running for possibly taking the Challengers division. This is kind of a situation that I feared, but going into week 4, we are potentially going to have 3 or 4 teams that could be at the top of Challengers after the end of the 4th week.
It's an explosive mix. We're living in a firework factory with the North American Challengers circuit here, live on twitch.tv/Paladins World. And of course, for Bree being your highest lead pick, the first map was Ice Mines, the second map was Timber Mill. Frog Isle and Frozen Guard were banned out, but looking at this, with Timber Mill being the victory for game 2, that's very much a pocket strategy. Heading into game number 3, it's for Bree's pick once again, and Shift, they've done it. They go with what they know. It's gonna be Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, they showed on all the Temple Isle maps they do play very well. And looking back on the previous couple of matches, they did try to go for that whole Ice Mines. I imagine they were trying to go for that same build we saw in the quarterfinals, and they were denied that because the Makoa and Cassie and actually Barrick as well picked up from Virtue. So I don't know if they knew about it or not, but regardless, that had to have been a really close game 1. Game 2 with the niche Eevee pick was actually the first overall pick for Virtue. I don't know if they know something that we don't, but it seemed to work out. 3, again, the pick still coming through, but Jaguar Falls, as you had mentioned, is a map that Fabri has looked very strong on in the past, and hopefully they'll be able to find some sort of success on it this time through. Again, we saw them play AQ in the best of 3. That third map was also Jaguar Falls.
Will they be riding into victory masterfully? We'll just have to find out. The itemization choices. Oh, we have fun here on Paladins World. I think Shift is going to murder me when I see him in person. I'm kind of scared about that, but as we are seeing the picks still coming through, we will wait until we are at that last pick stage and just having that locked in before we go ahead and talk about them. You know, Fabri, they kind of stick with what they know. So far, we've had Nando first pick in game 1, Nando's second pick with Eevee taken off the board for Virtue for their very first pick. And, well, I think we can spoil this one so far without giving too much away. Fernando is your third pick for Fabri's first pick choice. So they're going with the tanky frontliner in every single game. And Super Sully has had great performances on that in all previous sets.
He absolutely has. And, on the flip side of things, we talked about Bang having a great supporting cast. Sully is doing a really good job of knowing when to commit as the tank to initiate and engage the enemy and find the team fight that puts his team in favor. And again, having the people who understand what his goals are as the tank around him makes his impact felt that much more. On the flip side of things, though, they will not be able to run the double tank again as Makoa was picked up by Virtue. So we're going to see a lot more flexibility come out of both teams, and the play style choices are a lot more, I would say, kind of up in the air. They can go either way with having, each team having a tank on their side and not having to go up against, like, for instance, what we saw in game 1 of the semis between Kungarna. They'll not have to go up against that dominating front line of having 2 or even 3 tanks.
Oh, don't. That is just atrocious to have to deal with. Now, that wasn't Frog Isle. I'm inclined to say from previous experience that triple frontline deal is more strong on Frog Isle than it is on other maps, just because you're funneling in from one direction, and there is no easy flanking route to get in behind the Barracks barricade or Fernando's shield and be able to drop damage onto vulnerable players. So on Jaguar Falls, you got a few more flanking options. So I would not be surprised if we see some flanking picks come out, and we are now on pick number 10. It does go to Virtue. We'll see what they come up with in just a second, but please, Alan, do me the honors of breaking down Fabri's lineup.
Vree's lineup, again, starting off with the Nando. They'll counter it up with the Cassie, Bomb King, and Droxus and Pip. So across the board, they're looking at good targets that have direct damage put onto single targets. And then, of course, Bomb King provides zoning, the area of effect damage, and, of course, the mobility with either Poppy Bomb for himself or against the opposite team for a little bit of displacement. A lot of elements that kind of encompasses left all the way to right of the spectrum right there for Fabri. And that's going to be something that they, again, can try to find where their best strengths are against whatever Virtue decides to pick up here and try to embellish that as much as possible. They don't have to be stuck in a certain play style. They can change along the way as well, which is really good for flexibility and adapting as you get to, again, a really big game 3 here.
With a lot on the line, Virtu have opted to select their lineup so far as follows. We have Ying, Drogoz, Makoa, and Buck. Still waiting on that final pick to come through, so we will not talk about it until it does. We do not want to give any kind of indication as to what we think may or may not work here. We can see the players hovering over it. I've got a lot of guesses as to what it could be based off of previous team picks,
That's
and
what I
there we
expected.
go. It's Barik, the double shotgun coming out, and notably Virtu have played Barik in every single game in this best of 3 semifinal set so far, and I think that speaks wonders.
I think it does as well. And again, the combination of having Ying Barrack is really strong because, again, you don't have to worry so much as Ying to heal up the Barrack because he should be able to sustain himself from the healing station that his turrets do provide with that card pickup. So now Ying is able to focus all of her healing on Makoa and leaving illusions for both Drogos and Buck to get back to. That's really big when you consider that you have a double front line that you can essentially don't have to worry about one of the players. You only have to worry about 3 players to heal up and possibly dropping Illusionary Rift when your team gets low. That's a very favorable situation for Ying to be able to focus, similarly to how a Maldaba possibly could with Mending Spirits, as well as Gord. You're getting very similar as far as the placement of illusions as Ying looks around the map for her teammates.
So, for Bree going for the point break loadout, running Pip as always on Powtech and the Bomb King as well. But it is the point sustain composition that we see out of Virtu. Bit of an age-old battle coming up next, folks. But as we enter the picking phase in-game, as we get loaded into game and as spectator delay ticks down, there is so much on the line for both of these teams. One final game on Jagger Falls to decide it all. Join us after the break to see who comes out on top and who will be your second finalist in week number 3 of the Paladins Challenger Circuit.